All right, we got access. Right, like I was saying, chargers, batteries. This is where all the hand tools are. Everything's nicely organized and cut out. All right. Drill bits. Now typically the tools that you're going to access frequently, more often, are going to be on the go, right? So hammers, pretty useful. Squares are pretty good, so you grab those and go. They're not going to be in the drawers. Over here, all the hardware. So you got screws, bolts of all sizes, some miscellaneous hardware, some more hardware, concrete screws, hinges. I'll go over these tools when we do pipes, but there's a pipe die handle, pipe cutter, some wrenches, pipe wrenches. Right over here, grinders, sanders, belt sanders, some like chisels and things. I think that's a Dremel over there. You got your routers here, sandpaper, all the router bits, some like odds and ends tools down there. You got your your drills and your impacts, right? These are going to be what you're going to grab all the time, even if you're in, say, like lighting or sound, and you got to come grab a drill. That's where you're going to grab it from. Jigsaws. We got 2 electric drills that take a cord. I mean, we never use these. They're useful sometimes when you're drilling through like plate steel and stuff, or you set up like a jig and you do like repetitive tasks. But most of the time, just these drills and impacts do the job. Circ saw. Got glues. Down here, we have all the pneumatic guns. So you got like staple guns, narrow crown and medium crown. You got some brad guns over here, fabric staplers, framing gun, right? The big guy for nailing like 2x4 together. All right. Planer. We have these 2 little chop saws for if we're really busy in the shop, and more people are cutting stick goods than doing other tasks. Sometimes we'll bring those saws out to speed up the shop, right? Because if we only have a limited amount of space, limited amount of tools, you can only get so much done. So that's why we have some extra. This cabinet here, mostly for metal stuff. Dry cut saw. So this will also cut steel, similar to the cold saw, but this makes a complete fucking mess. But it works. Portaband, Sawzall, and the brace for the portaband. I'll show you pictures of that. We won't take those out of the case. Probably some extra storage. And yeah, that's pretty much the tool cage. All right, got some levels. Bolt cutters. We've never actually used this for any show. We use these all the time to cut the locks off your lockers. Got a little compressor down there, right? And these little compressors provide air for the pneumatic tools. So we have that little portable one, but all throughout the shop we have these inlines and regulators. So what these are is you plug in your air hose and then you can power up via air, not electricity, the staple guns, you know, for building flats and stuff like that. So there's like one over there. There should be one around that corner. There's one over on that wall. And then there's one on the ceiling, like right there. And right now it's just a line. But usually it's on something that looks like this. But for air, this one's for power, right? So yeah, that's pretty much the shop. Like I said, a little chaotic now, but that's how it should be. It should be, you know, busy, not messy, busy. Over here, we just have some leftover flats from the haunted hotel. We were working on these in the spring before everything got, you know, shut down. So they just put everything against the wall. These particular flats live up in the loft over there, because we only use that for the haunted hotel, which is, you know, once in the fall. So we don't want to occupy space like this for something that we only use once a year, right? Like when you guys are building your scenery and things for the scenery classes, normally this wall is like completely clear and you stack all your stuff on this side. Over here, right, that's another one of those air lines. This is where we keep all the pneumatic hoses and extension cords. So you got those bigger ones are for air, right, with those silver fittings. Then you got extension cords. Now these like colorful ones are what we call household or shop cords. These are not the cords that you're going to be running for your sound equipment, your lighting equipment, completely separate shit, right? And I'll explain that in the cables class more in depth. But cables, over here we have sheet scrap, right? So say you cut a sheet down on the table saw, right? So you take a sheet, cut it down, but you don't need the whole thing, you just need half of it. So you'd put it in one of these racks. Now sometimes, right, if you only need half a piece or a smaller piece, you know, you got to check here first, right? You check your scrap and then you grab a new piece if need be. So you can see these two bays are taller for taller stuff, obviously. And then you have this sort of division. You could do half sheets or small pieces. Now I will say, in this shop, you know, we sort of keep a little bit more. Some shops, like if it's smaller than, say, you know, 4 square feet or whatever, it's trash. Which is kind of what I was doing at my shop, right? Because if you start keeping all this little stuff, you know, if you get a job where you have a bunch of like bigger scrap, you know, now you got to empty all this out and put it in, right? And then depending on like what you build, you know, these pieces, like for the, you know, our classes here at CityTech, these scraps are actually useful, like they're usable material, right? We use them for shims, we use them to make probably the bottoms of boxes on different projects, stuff like that. But in my shop, like I have no use for stuff like that small. So it really depends on the flow of the shop too. Over here, sort of cleaning area, you got your brooms, dustpans. This is a flat that was being painted before COVID. See over here, drill press, similar to the mortise machine, but this just drills a hole. The other one actually drills a square hole, and I'll show you a small video about the two different machines later. Right over there is a cabinet for some parts for that tool and this tool. This is a, you know, stationary sander, similar to the one that we saw in the metal area, but this one is just for wood. Remember how I said you want to keep the tools separate. One for wood, one for metal. It's got a little vacuum setup. And that's pretty much everything.